Over the last year or so, owners have noticed that the housing authority in Los Angeles would offer a higher rent amount then, after the tenant moves in, make corrections which may lower the overall rent or change the tenant portions. And that's not supposed to be happening. Hi everyone, this is April with RentWiseLA. Today we're talking about the importance of ensuring the amounts on the contract match the amounts you agreed to when the housing authority authorized you to allow the tenant to move in. Once the RFTA has been assigned to a caseworker, they will contact you to make a preliminary rent offer. A preliminary rent offer is one of two offers made by the housing authority. It is based upon the tenant's existing income and the rental value of your property. It does not include the tenant's portion of rent because it is not authorization for the tenant to move in. If you accept the preliminary rent offer, the housing authority will then schedule an inspection. Be sure to give the caseworker the telephone number the inspector should call to gain access. The utilities should be on, and an adult needs to accompany the inspector at the unit. After the inspection is completed, it generally takes the housing authority about 3 to 5 days to process the results and make a final rent offer. The final rent offer includes the tenant's portion and the portion the housing authority will pay. Generally, the final rent offer is the housing authority's authorization to allow the tenant to move in and a request for a lease signed by the owner and tenant. When you complete the lease with the tenant, be sure to include all the utilities the tenant will pay for, all the appliances you will provide, and your late fee amount. At a minimum, the lease needs to be signed by the head of household and the owner. Then promptly send the lease to the housing authority. They will review the lease to make sure the utilities and appliances match the RFTA. They will also check for signatures and dates. After the lease has been received and approved, you should receive the contract. The contract usually comes within the first 30 days. Now hear this. When you get the contract, you need to ensure that the rent amount and the portions on the contract are what you agreed to when the tenant moved in. The housing authority should correct any errors made on the contract. However, if the correction is deliberate, they should ensure you get the full amount you agreed to when they authorize you to let the tenant move in. If you have any questions, please comment below. I will address all questions in the comments. If you want more content like this, subscribe to my channel and share this video with another Section 8 landlord that may find it useful. This is April with RentWiseLA, and thank you for joining me.